Hey everyone, and welcome to my video. If you're new to my channel, this video is part of my home automation tutorial where I go over how to create a full stack home automation system from scratch using a Raspberry Pi Model B and the ESP32 microcontrollers. This project is made for intermediate level programmers, but beginners can also follow along just fine as I'll be providing step-by-step instructions throughout the process. So let's get to the first step, which is installing our operating system onto the Raspberry Pi. As you can see in the video title, we are installing Ubuntu Server version 22.04. This is going to be the 64-bit version. We'll be adding quite a few programs to our Pi for this project, and this version of Ubuntu has really been the most stable. Later in this video series, we'll be installing programs like Node.js, MongoDB, a MQTT broker, and a few other programs, and I found that the newest version of Ubuntu Server, version 24.04, doesn't really support some of these services. So to begin, let's pop over to raspberrypi.com in order to download the Raspberry Pi Imager. We're going to click on the Software tab, and that will bring us to the page where we can download the appropriate file for whatever operating system you're using. I've already downloaded this, so I'll leave it to you to download and install before continuing this tutorial. Here we are with a brand new Imager tool ready to go. First, you're going to select the device you're using. In my case, it's a Raspberry Pi 4 Model B. Next, you're going to choose your operating system. To find the Ubuntu section, you first select Other General Purpose Operating Systems, and then from there select Ubuntu. And from here, we can locate the version that we want, Ubuntu Server version 22.04 64-bit. If you haven't already done so, install your SD card and select it from this button labeled Choose Storage. Now, before we proceed, I want to show you how to pull up the Customize options. By pressing Ctrl, Shift, and X, it'll pull up this screen. This is where we're going to enter our username and password, as well as our Wi-Fi network information and time zone. I'll be using this build for our home automation tutorial, so I'll call this one Home, and we'll just make an easy password, PASSWD. It's also really important to ensure that you click on the Services tab and make sure that SSH is enabled. From there we can save and then proceed with the upload. Now just acknowledge that you do want to apply the customized settings, and acknowledge that any data currently on the disk will be erased. From here, get comfortable because this is going to take a while. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video and I'll meet you on the other side. Alright, we're just about done. Let's click continue so it can be safely removed. And from here, pull out the SD card and place it inside the Raspberry Pi that you're using. After booting up your Pi, you're going to see a screen that looks something like this. What I want you to pay particular attention to is this IP address. This is what we're going to use to SSH into our Pi. The benefit of using SSH is that we can do all the programming on our primary machine and not have to do it on the Pi, which would be incredibly difficult. So now we are back on our primary computer. We're going to SSH into the Raspberry Pi. Pi's still up and running, still connected to the network. I'm going to type in SSH home at, and this is where you enter the IP address that I pointed to earlier. It will then ask you if you're sure you want to connect because it doesn't recognize this key. Type in yes, and then type in the password. Now remember, this is not the password for your machine. This is the password that we set up with the Raspberry Pi Imager. The next step is to do an update and upgrade of all our packages. To do that, we type in sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade-y. We'll let that run. Then we're met with a message saying that we need to update our kernel. Go ahead and press enter. And lastly, we'll get a message asking us which services should be restarted. I just stick with the default and hit enter again. And there you have it. Our server is up and running and it is up to date. For those of you that are following along with my home automation tutorial, go ahead and click the next video and we'll get started on installing the MQTT broker. Thanks for watching and we'll see you soon.